We don't often think about nations and people groups that go through hard times. The truth is, most of the time when a nation or a country could be suffering through things, unless it really becomes sensationalized, most people never even hear about it. But throughout times of history, there have been many times when people find themselves in the midst of hard times. And I am mindful of a time that is given to us in Scripture in 1 Kings chapter number 17. During the days of a prophet by the name of Elijah. I like that. Elijah the Tishbite. And Elijah was raised up by God to prophesy in a very difficult time in history. He lived during the days of the northern kingdom of Israel. And this is the splinter part of the kingdom of David that had split off and had gone into idolatry and worship of false gods. And it was a very difficult, very dark time. And a king by the name of Ahaz had risen to power. And he was a very wicked man, but yet his wickedness paled to the wickedness of his wife, Jezebel. And Elijah prophesied during those days. And he was one who stood against the forces and the powers of the times. But he was a powerful prophet, and he knew how to pray and get a hold of God. And the things that Elijah would pray about and God would respond to brought much dissatisfaction to the royal palace. And Ahab had put an edict out against Elijah. He wanted Elijah captured, tortured, and killed. But what Elijah did is that he said to King Ahab, he said, look, I'm going to pray, and God is going to respond to my prayer, and it's not going to rain or have any dew for 3.5 years. Now, I'm going to tell you something. This is an incredible thing. I remember reading an article one time, and I wish I had it, but I don't. But they just talked about the amount of rain and how much water was being held back by Elijah's decree. And so, of course, this brought a tremendous drought and famine to the land. People were suffering. And Elijah, in the early part of this, he didn't really experience the pain that everybody else was experiencing because God shielded him and protected him. And he had him down by a little brook called the Brook Cherith, and it was just merrily just flowing along water. Ravens were bringing him food every day. What a life. But the scripture says, and after a while, the brook dried up. And then all of a sudden, Elijah began to feel what everybody else was feeling in the midst of hard times. And when hard times come, the only thing we can do is turn our faces to God. It's Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.